I'm Kira Morgan. Thanks for joining me for election information. It's our way of providing our viewers and listeners with information about the upcoming election. And today I am here with Curtis Landers, who is running for County Commissioner position 3.
3 now, yes.
So Curtis, for those who don't know you, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Curtis Landers, as you said. Been in Lincoln County a long time, actually served at the sheriff's office for 37 years. The last 8 as the elected sheriff for the county, and had a wonderful career here in Lincoln County, and worked my way through, started in records when I was 20 years old, actually.
Oh.
Yes, and stayed and worked in the old jail. It's kind of funny, I call it the old jail. A lot of people that were hired at the sheriff's office, it was built in 92 or finished in 92, the old jail, this one looks pretty old now, but I still call that the new jail. But and then I went and worked the road and in patrol and patrol supervisor. I was the admin lieutenant under Sheriff Dotson for a number of years, and then when he retired, the commissioners appointed me to finish out the rest of his term, which was 7 months. And then I ran for the election 2 times and served the community for 8 years.
Also went to the FBI Academy.
I did, yes, I did.
I remember.
Yes, 2007, so it's been a while, almost 19 years now. So yeah, it's been a while. I went to the FBI National Academy, 10-week course on leadership. It was a wonderful experience. I learned so much, and there's people from around the world there that come there from law enforcement to learn additional leadership aspects. A lot of people think, oh, why'd you go to the FBI Academy? And it's really their training for law enforcement, and it's selection criteria. It only occurs 4 times a year, and Oregon only gets about 2 to 3 seats each time that it's in operation. So it's pretty neat that I got to go, and I really enjoyed the experience there.
Do you feel that benefited you in running for commissioner, or if you're elected, do you see that will benefit you?
Absolutely. Like I said, it wasn't just public safety or law enforcement related. There were a lot of other aspects, mainly leadership, budgeting, learning speech, and that type of thing. It was basically a really condensed college course that had several different, we had a schedule during the day where we went to this class here, this class there. Leadership was the number one, and I learned so much. They are just excellent instructors. I mean, it's really, at first I thought, okay, good, I get to go spend 10 weeks in DC, obviously miss being here, look at it as an opportunity. I learned far more than I ever thought I would by going.
And let's talk about why you've chosen to come out of retirement and run for county commissioner.
Yeah, absolutely. When I retired, it was a little over a year ago, January of 2025. I thought my time was done serving Lincoln County, although I kind of kept my options open for this position, and only because I really saw a decline in the county government, how it was operating near the end of my career as sheriff. And what I mean by that is it just seemed like the cooperation between commissioners, other elected officials, department heads was really going down, and the communication was going down. We weren't talking, and no matter what, if we agree or disagree, as long as we can communicate and talk about the issues, that's what's important. And I had that for a number of years. I was able to go in and talk with the commissioners, and they could tell me, no, I don't like that idea. Okay, that's great. We'll go back to the drawing board, or how can we fix it? Or they'd say, that sounds like a great idea. Let's make it work. And I love that approach. And, there were work sessions back then that we could do that. And then once we outlined all the details, then we could go in front of a business meeting and make them actually work. But at the end, that wasn't happening. I was submitting memos to get on for certain issues that were happening in the sheriff's office, and I wasn't even hearing back. I wasn't hearing anything. So I'm like, that's, why is this happening? So as a lot of people know, I endorsed Claire Hall's opponent in 2024 and came up short with that. But that's when I decided to keep my options open. I knew there would be other elections. I knew that there may be another opportunity. I wasn't ready to step in at that point. I had obviously served a long career. I was planning on retirement. My wife and I had plans for the first year. And I wasn't ready to step in, or I might have ran myself during that time. And then I watched over the last year to see how things were. I was hoping for improvement. I was hoping that, Katie Jacobson, great commissioner, left, and then so they appointed Walter Chuck. I was thinking, well, okay, maybe somebody new, maybe that'll help the dynamics. That's really what I was trying for when I endorsed Rick Beasley. And it went the opposite. I thought I saw very little communication. I mean, you can just watch these meetings, and it saddens me to see the county going down that road. And so I decided I was going to try to get in there so I could make a change and bring stability and common sense and good communication back to the Board of Commissioners office.
Now, transparency has been a big issue that's brought up, and you even brought it up yourself. How do you feel about being transparent with the public and the public process?
I absolutely, I was always in support of transparency during my time as sheriff. I was probably erred on the side of providing too much information to the public instead of keeping some in, especially when it comes to law enforcement. Obviously, in law enforcement, there's some things that can't be released until the time is right. We all understand that, but the public wants to know what's going on. And some issues are important, some aren't. I found out, especially with social media, you really don't know which ones those are until you put everything out. Something that you think, oh well, we'll see. Well, we better get this information out. Just goes crazy. And other things like this is an important issue. Well, it might be important to me, but it didn't rise to the importance of a lot of. But the point is getting the information out, being transparent. I think if you're not transparent, then the community and the citizens will fill the information with bad information. That's what I think what we're seeing a lot now is they're not hearing things, they're not knowing what's going on. So, especially in the social media world and other corners, coffee shops, whatever, people are talking about it and saying a lot of bad information. Maybe it's false. But if you don't know, it's important to be transparent with the facts and get them out. As commissioner, I would definitely do that. I am, solely want to see that this is going to succeed and get back to the meeting rooms being not very full. I don't think that's good either, because I think that it's important to, if you're transparent, to get feedback back from your department heads and elected officials within county government, from the cities, and especially from the citizens in the community. I think that is just huge. How can you make good decisions without all the proper information? I'm not the smartest person. I wouldn't be the smartest person sitting up there. I wasn't the smartest person as sheriff, but I hoped I can surround myself by those smart people so that I'm able to make those important decisions, the right decisions to move forward for all of Lincoln County.
Now, there's been some issues with public comment at the Board of Commissioners meeting. It's gone to hybrid, which is great. The more people that can be involved, the better. But it seems like the public comment rules kind of change as it goes. How do you feel about that? Are you willing to work to get that changed or solidified and provide the public with the information they need so they can properly take part in government?
Yeah, I've obviously watched that change throughout the years, and especially over the last year. And I don't like the changes that have been made. I understand that I'm not quite sure why we're going only virtual. I think virtual is an important tool that came out of COVID that we can use to our advantage, so that people don't have to come to the meeting if they don't want. They want to stay tuned. I think they can watch it, live. But it's even the sign-up process for those things. If someone wants to watch the meetings from their home, they should just be able to turn it on like it's TV, not sign up the day before if they want to speak, or just sign up even just to get a login in there. That's, because you hear people, well, I'll just use a fake name so they won't know I'm there. Well, that defeats the purpose, I guess, of what they're trying to do. But the point is I think that we want people involved in county government. We want people to watch. We want the budget meetings to be there so we can hear what's going on from the citizens. One thing I did, I keep talking about examples I did at the sheriff's office, but they worked. So I can take those examples hopefully to the Board of Commissioners office. But we had a community advisory group. We have Citizen Academy. Those are to get information out about what the sheriff's office was doing and what it was important to. I knew it was good to establish a community advisory group early on. I didn't realize that it would have the benefits that it did. It was far exceeded my expectations on that. And the reason why is because, again, our leadership team, myself, we thought we knew what all the priorities were in the community. And obviously, responding to robberies and drugs and assaults, those types of things. We know the priorities, but there's other things the community wants us to be involved in. And when we had that community advisory group, we put a diverse group together from around the areas of the county, and we wanted them to really let me know what the priorities are. We would come in there and talk about policy changes, procedural changes, things that were happening, case law changes that were passed down, how we were going to look at those. And we wanted to get that feedback. And we made a number of changes from that feedback that we would hear from our community advisory group. They didn't always agree with us, and that's good. I didn't want a group of people that always agreed with me.
You don't want yes, ma'am.
Right, exactly. Then we wouldn't need it. We wouldn't need it. So we had people that could tell us exactly what they thought. I think that'd be important to bring to the commissioner's office. Obviously, the Board of Commissioners, I feel, needs a strategic plan. They need a direction. We need a direction where we're going as a county. Having community input and citizen involvement is huge to that, because there's a lot of taxpayer dollars that go into running a county operation. We want to make sure that we're, obviously there's essential services that we have to provide and mandate, but there's other things they may want. And it's also, how do you provide those essential services? A lot of times it's not what they're doing, it's how they're doing it. And I think that's really what's going, that's a lot of negative right now, is how they're doing it, not what they're doing. So as far as bringing transparency back, I think it's so important that we're able to do that. I like cities that have adopted the citizens go first, really. After the meeting gets established quorum, they have citizen input first. Seems to make sense to me, because the agenda comes out, citizens look, I want to speak about that topic. Well, sometimes if you wait till the end, that topic's already been discussed and decided on, and now the citizen goes up there. I've heard it many times. I'm like, well, I was going to talk about this, but you already made a decision, so here's my thing, but I don't know if it's going to change it. Instead of hearing them out at the beginning, and then maybe you have that input so you can make those decisions. Short-term rental, one example that obviously we at the Sheriff's Office was involved in on the enforcement part. But during that time, Wayne Belmont had meetings, and I remember sitting through 2+ hour meetings with, both sides and people down the middle on what they wanted as far as short-term rental operation, and hearing that out. But it was so important to know what they were saying. Now, sometimes, you couldn't do both, and you tried to have to pick the best approach. Those are things that I think are always going to change, especially as that environment changes and we move forward. But again, I think the bottom line is we got to hear from people.
And let's talk a little bit about county administration. So the county passed, I think it was 517, where they decided to bring on a county administrator. That county administrator is taking on the role that the Board of Commissioners were doing in managing county government. Some folks have said, why do we need to pay a county administrator and pay county commissioners at the same time? What are your thoughts and views about administration?
Yeah, great question. I'll let you know, even as a sheriff, I was in full support and actually tried to encourage them to get a county administrator during my time and afterwards to take on those responsibilities to run the county. Lincoln County kind of sits in that mid-range to where, the larger counties definitely need an administrator to see the county government through, and smaller, maybe not. So it's kind of, a decision that the commissioners need to make. And here's the thing. I know that the hardest part is having 3 full-time county commissioners and then pay a county administrator to do that. But the problem is, and the challenge is, it's hard for 3 county commissioners, maybe with no experience in county administration, to oversee these department heads. And, and there's a big job. You got public works and health and human services, both big departments. You've got, planning and human resources and, transit. I can just keep naming them. I mean, there's a lot that goes on at county government besides the elected officials that run their offices. And I mean, it takes somebody with a lot of expertise. And so the way I look at it, it's not paying it, it's paying another person, but the efficiencies that you're going to see come out of a county government should far exceed what you're putting into it. That allows the county commissioners to move on to really important political topics. And I don't mean it to be partisan, political topics that have to happen, that they need to be in Salem at to encourage, so they can start getting resources to Lincoln County, the housing, the ICE facility, all those important topics, homelessness, all those important topics that come down. Really, commissioners can really work on those then. What I see happen is, and I didn't see the commissioners completely letting go of what they're doing. The transition didn't go as smooth as it should have. I think what the commissioners need to do is really let the county administrator, whoever that was, do the job that they are paying them for and run the county departments. Um, I didn't see that happening, and I think that's why it really met with some, actually had probably more negative aspects to it than positive when it when it was all said and done. So I do support having that, getting the right person in here. I think right now, unfortunately, with the dynamics at the Board of Commissioners office, maybe the right people are not applying. I don't know. I'm not, obviously I don't see the applications. I'm not a commissioner right now, but I just wonder what's coming in from their search. You have to be seeing that there are some applicants coming in. And so,
Well, according to Commissioner Chuck, he said that they've received no applications and it's been almost a year.
well, I know personally people have
So-
told me they've applied, so I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
going
we
to
don't.
say, yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know because nothing's been released, or I haven't heard any final interviews or any progress, reports on the process of that. So I don't know, but I'm in support of it. I think that in the right dynamics, it would work very well for county government, and our community would see a lot of positive results from that.
All right. So Curtis, given that information, why should people choose you? There's going to be a lot of folks to choose from.
Yeah, there are. As you know, closing deadline is later today. I don't know when you air this, but it's coming up real quickly, and it's a lot of changes are going on, and new people jumping in, which is good. And so, why should they choose me? Obviously, I have 37 years in county government. I've been around Lincoln County for a long time. Let's see, probably I went to the lieutenant role in 2005. So, 20 some years in upper management where I started working on budgets for the county and specifically county budgets. I think budgeting is one of the, number one priorities for county commissioners. They need to know about the county budget. I think as far as transparency, even at the end, I saw the transparency between finance commissioners and department heads and elected officials going away, which is not good. As running at the end almost $17 million budget at the sheriff's office, I needed to know, where we were in these type of things, and even for it going out to the public, it's really kind of condensed on what the public can see in that county budget. I'm sure you could do a records request and get more, but right now it's not. So fundamentally, the budget is important. I think I have the ability to absolutely, keep good. Obviously, we're hearing that the budget is struggling. We know that federal and state dollars are struggling to come down to us. So we have to make important decisions. And one of the things with the budget that I would do is really prioritize and identify efficiencies in county government. I think that's the number one thing that has been missing for a number of years, to see really where that goes. And I have the experience to do that. And I not only the county budget, but I worked on a number of budgets around the year, around the time I was there when I was sheriff. The Willamette Valley Communications budget, I was instrumental in working with that transition from Lincom here to there in Salem, and obviously some obviously concerns from the citizens. In the end, it saved the county a lot of money. And I feel providing a lot better service and safety to our public safety members. But I was on the budget committee there for a number of years and saw what they did out there. And a lot of things I can take from that that I can bring back. I think one thing that they don't have is like a 5-year forecast. We really, if they do, they're not sharing it. But really, you need to keep that 5-year forecast going every year, because so when things may be looking like there's a downturn somewhere, hopefully you're ahead of the game and can make those adjustments early on before it gets to where also now you're laying off a lot of people or cutting a lot of services or both. And that's just not right. So budgeting, I have a lot of experience on. I think, and I talked about some of the other important issues as far as homelessness, housing affordability here. All those things are important. I got to say the number one thing that I'll leave with this is we really need to bring back some cooperation with the Board of Commissioners, because without that, none of these things are going to be solved. Without a board that can talk, communicate, have work sessions to solve problems, and come back in business sessions, without board or commissioners able to talk about proposals to get things that they need to work out between the three of them, this county is going to continue to decline, and that's what I'm worried about. That's why I'm running. And so I know a lot of people are talking about all the priorities, which there are a lot of them from Lincoln County that I want to help with. The first thing is really bringing stability back to the board.
And how can folks get a hold of you or get some more information?
So I don't have a website yet. It's coming out, but Facebook. So Landers for Commissioner is my Facebook. All my information's on there. LandersForCommissioner@gmail.com is my email. So please send me an email. I'll give out my phone number because it's on the county's website for the election. It's 541-961-8443. I've already fielded a lot of calls, so I'm happy to talk with anyone that wants to call and talk about what's going on. And so, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck in the election, and
Thank you.
thanks for joining me
Thank you.
on Election Information. I'm Kara Morgan.